Welcome, everyone, to the Rovertime podcast, episode number 8. I'm Mark Wazz. Today with me, we have Minding Freedom. We have Lex, Stan, Dr. Manhattan, and Toby. Toby hasn't been with us much because he's, I guess the time is different for him, but he's also from Germany. Toby, you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone.
Yep, and I think in honor of that one shock artist from Evergreen, we should say that Toby he's a man who did not want to wake up because everything was fuck. Everything just sucked. He didn't really know why, but he wanted to justify ripping someone's head off. I can't think of the rest of this song. I just really want to quote one of those. I really wanted to just do a little lip biscuit for that guy.
Oh, I see. Because the Evergreen thing.
Yeah. Somebody got that joke.
By the way, I wanted to start off with this. It's a bad joke, but who cares? I want to say that we are the Rovertime podcast, your favorite reality talk show. The first deep state arrest. Apparently, she was a National Security Agency contractor. I think she was in the Air Force, and she was leaking classified information. But I wanted to point out that she looks like Luke Rudkowski from We Are Change. I think if anyone agrees with me, let me know. If it's just me, I'm going crazy, but I think they look a lot alike.
I think that Reality Winner looks like that guy, but also crossed with Amy Schumer and a bit more feminine.
Can we just start off with the statement of how did she get a security clearance with that name? This just proves that our security clearance and background check system is not nearly as thorough and well thought out as we would like to think.
Part of me they're gonna deny
shit? Because I can only imagine Private Winner, are you in fact the winner that you claim to be, or something like that. I would pay for just a solid hour of Arlie Ermy shouting at this person just on the last name alone.
They probably have to go by her middle name, which is oddly normal. Lee. First of all, I understand that's crazy to name your kid Reality, but how do you get the last name Winner?
You have that. I cannot believe that that's an actual name. So she had to change that. I could believe Apple being a name because the lead singer of Coldplay is fucking weird, but I cannot believe that Winner is an actual last name with some kind of background. Unless someone's really fucking cocky back in the medieval times or something.
I mean, Apple is a real name. There's an NFL cornerback called Eli Apple. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's the sports nerd again.
Do you think that they chose that at random, or do you think it stemmed from a name that was close enough to Winner, like Wiener or Weiner?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't get names. It's so weird.
Her late father was named Ronald Winner.
No shit.
No, according to the Daily Mail.
That's an actual fucking... Wow.
Obviously it is.
I'll tell you, working the business, I've seen a lot of names that you would be like, really? Someone named... I mean, just look at Hollywood, some of the shit they name their kids. I mean, Reality Winner, that can't be that surprising.
Is anybody here a 30 Rock fan?
No.
Well, I remember one bit where it's one of those BS human resources people, and they're talking, and Tina Fey is just excuse me, Mr. Viner Slave, and he's just it's pronounced Wiener Slave.
Oh no!
Biggest grin on his face. I'm yes.
All right, I got one.
All right.
What about that name Shithid? It's spelled shithead. But I'd be you know what? You can call me shit for short. It's better than shithead.
Or there was one. They pronounce it Lamangelo, but it was spelled Lemongello. But because they said it very fancy with the apostrophe.
Oh no! Or in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, there was that episode where Frank was talking about his girl Dynasty, but his name was spelled Shady Nasty. I fucking love it.
Man.
Can we go on with the story?
Yeah, let's.
Well, that's the thing. Like with the story, I mean, that's all I know so far. Is that she leaked classified information.
I mean, guys, it's obvious she's going to get let go because, I mean, it's not like she intended to leak this information, right?
Well,
she didn't intend to do anything
bail.
wrong.
Yeah, well, she was denied bail, but that's as far as I know. And this goes back to what I was telling you guys earlier. Especially with the Comey thing, bringing everything to close, I'm finally hitting that inflection point where I'm no longer following every story in politics, and it's like kind of like a somewhat return to like regular life. So I don't know. What do you guys feel the same way with the whole Comey testimony thing?
I don't know if I feel the same way about it. I just know that the way I view a bunch of different people kind of cycles. Like for the longest time, like I'm Mug Club, you guys know, and I haven't watched Steven Crowder or Michelle Malkin or anybody in a while, just because I think I burnt myself out on it a little bit. So I've been kind of on more of a Sargon and that kind of kick. I don't think I'm going to become less interested in it anytime soon, but like I don't know, 4 or 5 years, maybe I'll just be like, you know what, I'm done.
Well, I just mean like story by story basis. Like,
right.
I think last week, that's the first time this year that I missed a Louder with Crowder daily episode because I'm getting busy as well. But I mean,
yeah,
it's just like more than half a year past the election now.
I mean, I think it's both. Like even last weekend I went through after Thunderfoot did his whole. I gave it like a week after his. I'm leaving the skeptic community thing, and then other bigger things happened, so we didn't really even talk about that.
What's going on with him exactly? Like, is he just having a fucking meltdown at this point? Because
no, he does this every once in a while. Like he gets into a community, or he basically founds a community, or becomes a very central piece of it, and he's usually an intellectual heavyweight in it because he's this incredibly smart guy.
Yeah, he's like what kind of I just know that he's a research scientist, but like, is there a specific field he focuses on, or?
He works with nuclear reactors and does physics. So, like, he does physics experiments involving nuclear reactors. That's all
That's badass.
Yeah, it all kind of goes over my head, and like, what he does is so super specialized that you're like, cool. That's interesting.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but awesome.
He does this thing where he has to be the smartest guy in the room. And unfortunately, in politics, he is not.
Yeah,
and it started with Brexit, where his entire outlook on Brexit was extremely internally focused. And he is definitively like, top 1%. He is an elite. Because even with his political views, even being shunned and probably sitting on the outside of, British high class, like you look at his videos, especially when his dad was going through with cancer, their family's house. He's not upper crust by any means, but when it comes down to it, like he probably has the academic credentials to walk into most of those rooms and be accepted if he towed the line. So he eschewed that, and in return, he kind of probably feels like he owns the intellectual, super king hat, right, for this group.
Yeah, but he's like, I can talk about nuclear fission, so listen to me about Brexit.
Right, and then, but Sargon kind of, was like, no, I'm actually much better read on this particular field of study. I talk about it daily. That is Sargon's entire life.
Yeah.
And that mantle passed. This time, Thunderfoot's kind of sitting on the outside, and he created this thing where now it's between the two of them with a really weird call-out. Like, you can't look at an entire community of shit talkers and be like, oh my god, you guys talk shit about this subject? I can't believe you. That's beyond the line. It's like...
Yeah. And it was kind of bugging me about that video he made, like, where he was basically saying, you think I'd be doing some soul searching, but I find it's like, you really shouldn't be fun. You kind of fucked up, dude.
I mean, I don't know. He can do what he wants. He has been sort of looking for a reason to leave the quote-unquote skeptic community, which doesn't give him a lot of outs. There's no... What can he blow up about them about? Most of them are still, shit-talking on feminism, and which he can't be mad about.
Right.
Most of them are still talking, fairly routinely about, religion and not being a guiding force. Most of them are still civic nationalists, and they're all kind of going in these paths that he still more or less agrees with. He just doesn't agree. Like, he is all about globalization, and confuses that with being okay with globalism.
Yeah.
And he doesn't quite see the distinction. And that's cool, because for him personally and in his professional career, which is an important one, doing actual legit stuff. So
yeah,
I listened to that, but his actual field is going to be his actual field is going to get really affected by Brexit, and him personally. So I understand why he was totally against it, but that's the only argument he could make.
Yeah.
So.
And I like the video that Computing Forever did about the subject, because he went to the whole thing, and at one point Thunderfoot said something like, "We're going from one completely normally functioning set of rules to another that, no guarantees." But Dave is just like, "They're not, though. That's kind of the problem of your argument that you got going on here." And it's like, I want to check out some of his science videos and whatnot, because I didn't know he actually did like nuclear physics, but that is just like, wow.
So here's the thing about his science videos, and this is where I started, where we got to this point. Like, I went through and basically pruned down my entire sub list. Like, Worski went off, No Bullshit went off, Thunderfoot went off, because they all do the same thing where they get into a subject, they find one thing to hook on to, like in a response video, and then they make the entire thing about that one point, even if it doesn't really fit.
Okay.
And that was easy to do against someone like Sarkeesian, where her videos were so on singular points.
Pretty much,
that was a good thing, because you were staying concise in your argumentation against her, and she was so flawed right from the beginning. But as you move to other topics, it's less, engaging.
It's not as effective, basically.
Yeah, and his where he goes after the Kickstarter fraud pieces, basically.
Right.
Like, those the first of any of those that he does are really good. Like, he goes over the science of it, he explains it, and then he'll do like 2 or 3 more videos where he just does the same thing over and over and talks about the same formulas, and you're like, okay. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm kind of done with this.
Yeah, that's fair.
And now he's back to bashing Anita, which I haven't watched his latest one, but that's probably going to be pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
I actually find, not necessarily, I don't really watch Thunderfoot, but I find I am, and I don't get into it as much as most of us does, but I find as I'm going through my list of subscriptions, I'm like, okay, 15 videos about Comey. Okay, skip. like I want, like, okay, another feminist video. I'm like, okay, I understand that there's always new feminist low-hanging fruit, but I'm like, I want something like, for example, when Roaming does her video reviews, her movie reviews, I'm like, okay, good, a palate cleanser, something where I don't have to get irritated and annoyed at the world. So I do find that since I've kind of gotten more into this, really just since last fall, I'm like, there's days I just wish I was back in my life of ignorance and not giving 2 shits about all this stuff. But
you have left the cave, Stan.
But I left the cave, and now here I am. So.
And it's interesting because, like, of course, we all still care. We all find this stuff interesting still.
Yeah.
It's just that there are days when, we feel at leisure to return to, everyday life. And I was just going to say something. I forgot what it was. But, So it's like, not so much that everything is good. Everything is far from being perfect just yet. But where you start to think like, oh, well, things are in good hands at the moment where I don't need to worry about it at the moment.
Right.
And obviously that's to a very small degree because we realize, of course, we still need a lot of oversight and things are not really, like I said, they're not perfect just yet. But we're more at liberty to just let go for a bit, whereas people like Antifa won't quit.
Yeah.
They will not stop with the outrage, because if they haven't stopped by now with the outrage, they're...
Yeah, then we have to keep up the tide to match their I don't want to say I don't want to say ferocity because let's be honest, we get to say mean words to them and they might just crumble. But there's a few that will throw piss, so maybe that's kind of the right word.
Yeah, like Lauren Southern.
That's the thing. I think they're distilling themselves down because as they shunt off more allies with basically every protest, and as they do more and more, weird things that make them the grouping look bad, as more and more people can honestly say, yeah, these Antifa dudes are not helping the debate.
You mean like throwing Red Fox pee in Lauren Southern's face? Like, how is that supposed to? Oh, you know what? They threw pee in a woman's face. Right. I see your side of the argument now. Let me come and join your side.
Or like that one. Where the hell was it? I think it was at one of the Red Pill showings somewhere. I think it was in Australia. And I don't know if it was Antifa, but it was just people shouting, "Shame, shame!" It's like, explain what's the problem.
Their chants really do need to.
Hey!
They need better writers. Yeah, exactly.
Shut the fuck up.
Got to go. Yeah.
But maybe the Fox P thing was symbolic because Lauren Southern is foxy.
Oh, come on!
I know it's really bad.
Okay. We really got it. We really have to find a drum rim shot because Mark, you are just absolutely every week you're like, hey guys, I'm here all week. All right, any jokes for anybody?
I'm good at. I'm getting better at making puns on the spot these days.
That's perfect.
And by the way, you called her a she. She's legally a man.
Oh yeah, you misgendering.
I'm sorry, I'm fake news. I'm fake news.
You are fake news.
But going off what we were saying, the left is an unsustainable, at least group. I mean, if you look at Lacey Green, she only we were just talking. Stan and I were just talking to Matt Christensen about this, but it's not so much that Lacey Green even changed her opinions yet.
It's just that she's wanting to talk to people. Yeah.
Just like it's like the left is locked in their room, and Lacey Green just opening the door just a little bit, see what's on the other side.
Yeah.
And then she gets attacked and from all sides and viciously so. And I mean, she can't even hear other people's viewpoints, and so it's just an unsustainable group to be on. Everyone's gonna leave out of, them just being repulsive.
They in her effort to say, hey, maybe all these people aren't assholes, they are literally pushing her into our arms.
Understand that bullying doesn't help them.
Well, and of course they would, that's always their, bullying and, intolerant. And literally, as Mark said, her views, I've not seen one thing that she said changing her views or anything that she said in the past.
Right.
So all she is doing is like, hey, I'd like to talk to this guy on the other side of the aisle. And they literally picked up her chair and threw her out. And violently so. They are, I think it's actually kind of an eye opener for her to be like, wow.
You go ahead, Mark.
I was gonna say, and you don't change people's minds through violence and aggression. You don't speak aggressively and someone goes, oh yeah, you know what, you're right, I'll change my mind. And you don't throw a chair through their window and they say, you know what, maybe that person has a good point.
Right.
No.
These people did get their minds changed that way. And they were scared into becoming this cucked out, leftist accepting collectivist grouping. That's exactly how 90% of these lily white suburban rich girls got the way they did. They didn't get there by being argumented into it. Nobody showed them stats and they were like, oh, this is horrible. They were guilted into it by their quote unquote racist heritage.
And hear this though too.
You better pay your white tax and help out, or else you're going to the gulag.
Pay your reparations.
Yeah.
Right, but also,
have you heard the good word of feminism?
But hear this though. Also, I mean, this is one thing that they're blind to. They're not taking this into consideration. I would hope it's not the case. But for anyone to change their mind, you have to meet in the middle. And by her reaching out to first, they act like that's some kind of surrender. But maybe. But no, I hope not. I hope not. But maybe she'll be the one to change one of our minds.
I don't want her to surrender.
That's been their big thing since Lacey started talking to people, and Fisty Splinters did a really good job of doing a video that it totally exemplified the entire reason why they hate Lacey, and it was her talking about this the fallacy of the middle ground, right? That in between these two opinions is going to be some truth, like that is the real objective truth, and that's what they hate about her even talking to these people. If you don't blindly hate them,
right,
you're accepting that they might have a point, and then everything they talk about is wrong.
Mark, I was going to say earlier about what you said on the whole, like, you know, she might just start realizing what her side is like, and it reminds me of, incidentally, another Sargon thing I saw, where he was critiquing Steve Shive's video about like his experience and how you know what was it called, a temporarily embarrassed believer, and how Steve Shives was saying he was just like, is this the side I was always a part of? It's like, not, you know, it's obviously different for Steve because he's a delusional fuckhole, but Lacey, I think, you know, going back to that cave joke I made with Stan earlier, she's just like starting to come out. It's like, oh, so this is what they're talking about.
And you know what? And yeah, I don't inherently believe that she hasn't changed her beliefs. I don't think a lot of what she believed before is anything that I would, but we can be civil to one another.
Exactly.
You can disagree about things and realize that, okay, I may not agree with you, Lacey, but I don't wish ill upon you. You know?
Yeah, it's like, that's possible.
I mean, obviously there are people that do on both sides wish ill on the other. I mean, I do wish Steve Shives would
just fuck off,
go away, but I don't wish ill on him. Actually, I don't wish he'd go away. Keep putting, you know, they always talk about, you know, sunlight, you know, is the best disinfectant.
And here, what about
that's what's happening to them right now?
Who is that YouTuber that did a collab with Roaming and everyone's upset about it, but they were just making a simple video about listening to each other and talking? Milo Stewart. So take that as one example. She worked together with Roaming, and through Roaming, like using the pronoun she like here's I don't know, they wanted
something stupid.
But they gained respect by joining the middle ground area. Like they could influence us as well as we can influence them, but neither can happen if we're both on opposite sides. So they don't see that there could be a good side for them, which I would probably think is wrong. They could probably influence someone on our side to go over there, and they don't take that into consideration because they know that the arguments aren't very good.
Right.
And unless you guys got anything else to say on that topic, we could move on to the Comey summary.
Basically, moral of the story: don't be a dick. At least be willing to listen to the opposition a little bit, even if you don't agree.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Unless it's Fisty or Steve Shives, then they
fuck those people.
I will. So here's the thing about Fisty and Steve. Steve is definitely on a whole different wavelength of like crazy. And I think there might actually be some like schizophrenia in there where like he is legitimately worried about hearing people who disagree with him. That seems to be like a pathological thing for him. So I'm just going to be like, okay, you do you. Fisty only acts inappropriately to Bearing. And that is the thing that like makes it so entertaining, that Bearing has just found that button to push so perfectly.
I actually have been blocked by Fisty on Twitter.
Same here.
And here was she a couple weeks ago, weeks after the fact, jumped on Roaming about her interview with I
remember this story.
God, just Spencer, yes, thank you. And Fisty was saying, you know, she needs to grow a thicker skin. She can't handle criticism. She's saying this about Roaming and what a snowflake she is. And she's saying, you needed to do this. I replied, I find it interesting that you say these things, yet you are not willing to even talk with anyone on the other side, let alone conduct an interview with them.
Yeah.
So she replies to me and Blonde at this point, who had gotten brought in on it. She blocks me first and then replies saying, conduct does not equal feedback. You're not much of a reader, are you?
Fucking pussy.
And I'm like, I actually am. Well, true. I don't read a lot of books, but your points are very clear to be made. You are telling her how to conduct an interview, and yet you won't do one yourself. And yet you don't have the balls of conviction for your own comeback to even let me see it. The only reason I saw it is because Blonde responded, and it showed up in my email. But I'm just like, are you serious? You pseudo-intellectual, weak-ass bitch.
Lex, I want to pick your brain on something just real quick. And then I don't want to delay the Comey thing too long, but I have to ask this. I think I heard a theory that Steve is like, I don't know, something's going on with him and his wife. Does it seem like that she's like plucking, pulling the strings a bit more so than Steve is on his own mind? Because
no, I think he really has like a mental issue.
Okay.
Dealing with people who disagree with him in large numbers and in ways that he can't control. And maybe that stems from like, a marriage to a woman who seems like she has some very militant feminist views, and he may legitimately just want to keep her happy. Like I can't blame a guy for that, being in that spot and wanting to, maintain his life.
Right.
And he's like, I take a very like laissez-faire approach to people blocking, like, oh, you don't want to have a conversation. Awesome, cool. Well,
Yeah,
then listen to you. Like, it's
I actually found it a point of pride that she blocked me.
Right? Yeah. When Fisty or Steve or somebody blocks somebody, it's like, all right, well, cool. Now I devalue their opinion just a little bit. And like, when Roaming blocked, certain other people, like people that were on our Discord server with us, I was like, oh, well, shit happens, and I had to explain that. Sorry, I have to step out for a second. I will be back.
All right.
Before we move on real quick, I have a final thought, and I've said this before, I'm sure, and I'll keep saying it again, but there's no real use in fearing individuals on the other side, because at the end of the day, they're only one person, they're only one vote. I mean, they're not running your lives if they disagree with you, no matter how strongly. So there's no point in like not being friends with someone just because they disagree, because like they're just another they're not like your overlord. And yeah, with that said, Minding said he had something from the chat he wanted to bring up.
Yes, exactly. I've got Jay Fry, who wrote something that I think is really interesting. He said, "Fuck everyone left of me, from Hitler all the way to Lenin."
Nice.
And we just got some rather breaking news on that topic. That's interesting. I can't confirm yet, but it seems like Linda Sarsour got suspended from Twitter.
What?
Ooh.
Wow.
No shit. I'm checking this right now. I want to see.
I mean, her account is still there. She didn't get fully thrown out.
Okay.
But suspended. So
what happened?
I don't know. The speculations are promoting hate.
Fucking imagine you spread Islam around, they're accused of promoting hate.
And Based Kekbot says he can confirm this. He is suspended. Probably for like, I don't know, a week or
10
so.
minutes. Yeah, probably 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit more than 10
they'll be
minutes.
like, ooh, shit, we just suspended a Muslim. Should we redact that? Yeah, change it back, Bill. Okay.
For like 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. All right, so
I remember when Roaming said that Linda Sarsour is more masculine looking than Trudeau. Oh, sorry, Justin from Canada, I should say.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
All right, so Stan, you ready to give us a quick rundown on the Comey thing?
Yeah. So high level, and I'll break it down. High level, nothing happened. Essentially, the real talking points for this were that he finally has admitted publicly and on the record that was not being investigated for ties to Russia, which for whatever reason he could not say, wouldn't say, it didn't get leaked. They leaked the lunch menu, but couldn't leak that President Trump was not under Russia investigation. So that was one of the big items that came out of there. Another big item, which doesn't seem to be getting as much of a play, is the AG under Obama, Linda. Gosh, I just completely blanked on her last name. Apparently, had asked Comey to refer to the investigation into Hillary Clinton as a matter. Not an investigation, just a matter. Which I don't think that's as much of a big deal as, for example, Fox News and they want to make it out to be. It's not like she said, stop investigating her, stop doing that, just call it something different. So I feel, and so there was that point, which of course the right, the media on the right was like, look, obstruction of justice, she ordered them to do this. But then they'll turn around and say that because Trump says, I hope you can see your way to let the Mike Flynn thing go, that was okay. I don't think either was any sort of a directive. The left feels that it was him trying to obstruct with the investigation. It was a lot of going around. I spent a good part of yesterday afternoon. I watched some PBS recap of it. I watched some Fox News. I watched some CNN. And based on who you watch, they drew what they wanted to from it. And to be honest, I don't think we're any further along today than we were before his testimony. There's nothing that he said except for the fact that Trump said he's willing to go on the record about some of their meetings. Now, if Trump goes on the record about the meetings with Comey and he contradicts what Comey said, one of them is committed perjury, essentially.
Right.
So that is the potentially worst case scenario that came out of this. Everything else, frankly, I felt Comey came off, to be frank, as a puss. You know, he's saying, I have the AG asking me to do something, and that made me queasy. But then I have Donald Trump asking me to do something that made me so uncomfortable. But you never felt you could say, hey, I don't think that's a good idea. You're the director of the flippin' FBI. Speak up for yourself. Say something. You know, don't just cower in your corner.
Push over. Fucking.
And then, you know, with Trump, just go over and furiously scribble, dear diary, Trump said this to me today. You know, and then to release the memos, part of his notes from the meeting with Trump, parts of them to his friend to release to the press, as opposed to walking out to the press and saying, hey, I took notes on my meeting with Trump. Here's all of it. It was very, very bizarre. But at the end of the day, and we spoke earlier with Matt Christensen. I actually spoke yesterday with Roaming about this. It's a push. Nothing has been moved forward for either party after his testimony. There's nothing. There's no. As opposed to what people might want to believe, there's nothing earth-shattering here. I realize the people on the left were hoping that there would be, yes, he was under investigation, but I think if they had the expectation that Comey was going to reveal some damning evidence against Trump in the Russia investigation, well, he would have done that when he was investigating him as the head of the FBI. So why would there suddenly be, oh, by the way, here's concrete evidence after I was fired?
But don't you think that a push goes to Trump's narrative, basically? Like, isn't that his whole point?
I think it does until Trump puts his foot in his mouth and goes out there and does a press conference saying he's lying about this and he's lying about that. And it's like, just say, just take, like if Trump had taken that at face value, yes, I think he could have come out more ahead. But because Trump has now thrown this, well, he's lying about parts of it, but not all of it. And yes, I'll testify. He's now put the Russia cloud came off, but then Trump puts the cloud back on about what actually happened during these meetings.
I see your point. I do wonder, and this thing, I'm trying to figure out where these meetings were. Like, this is my big thing. If somebody could point out,
one was in a restaurant, one way where they were behind closed doors, and Trump asked everyone to leave the room. And you know, and I can see from Comey's to play devil advocate. If the president of the flipping, now granted, legally, him saying, "I hope you can see your way to letting this go," legally, that's not a request. But if the president of the United States walks up to you and says, "Hey," especially Trump, "I hope you can see your way to, you know, this coming out the way I want." I mean, it's like if a mafia don came up and said, "Hey, I'm not telling you what to do, but I hope you can see your way into my side of things." It's not in order, but the president tells you, "I hope you can do what I want."
Yeah.
I just don't. Maybe I'm weird. I just do not see Trump in that light. Like, he's a reality TV show host, like at the core. Like, he is not an imposing figure of like dominance. Like, in the business room, like when you've got something when he has you over a barrel, he makes sure you know it. Comey was not over that barrel though. And
well, I did, and here's where I'll start in that. Comey came off after this as a bit of a bitch. Yeah. So I can see where Trump can definitely read people, and he probably read Comey as, "Oh, you're not even a beta. You're below beta. I can impose my will on you."
I don't know if he's a bitch or if he's just bad. Like, he wants to play politics and is just kind of bad at it. Because he is bad at it.
Well, if he wants to play politics, he has completely bleeped himself, because the left hates him from the Hillary stuff, and the right hates him from all this Russia stuff. So I don't know who he's going to vote for him.
He wanted to play the middle with the initial announcement about the Hillary investigation, which was weird in and of itself. And everyone was kind of like, remember, the big thing for especially Trump supporters was, well, see, there has to be something about these emails, because why did the head of the FBI talk about the investigation? They rarely, if ever, do that for no reason. And now, like, so then, you know, it moves forward. It's like, oh, well, then there's nothing. But there's nothing in a way that just because we can't get a conviction. So we're going to say it's nothing.
Yeah, and the whole Hillary thing, I found, you know, especially their statements that, well, she didn't seem to understand the law, so there wasn't really much of an intent. What? So if I don't know for sure that walking into the store down the road and robbing the cash register, I didn't really understand if it was
guys,
I
have a question. Is murdering people bad? Because I'm not really sure how that works yet.
All right, Vegan Gains, put your knife down. But that, yeah, I mean, so I just, like I said, I mean, I agree getting the Russia cloud off of Trump. It was a win in that aspect. No one really pushed Comey about what the AG said to him, so no one seemed to care about that. I think Comey continually essentially saying Donald Trump is he believes he's a liar. No one really pushed back on that either, which tells me that most of the Senate and House thinks Trump is a liar, which, I mean, what politician isn't? All those people are liars. So, I think in that aspect, but I think if Trump had handled the follow-up press conference better, I think you're right, Lex. I think it would have come off as a bigger win for his side. But it's like, hey, we've got good things. Okay, great. Trump just opened his mouth, and now we're back with another cloud over our heads.
So that's a pretty constant thing, though.
Yeah, but I you know what? Trump is playing by a different set of rules. They're all playing their way. He's playing his way, and he's beating them. It's like
he's like, I don't want to do that.
Here's the real question at the end of the day. Does Trump's style win out in the long term,
Yes.
Or does it fail at some point? Does it just... And here's the thing. They can't both win. This isn't like with Obama or W, where they both had adversarial relationships with different segments of the media, so only part of the media had to fail to get their message across, right?
Right.
This time it's the whole of the institutionalized cable media saying, no, Trump bad, the way he act bad, you must be against him or you racist Nazi. Like, at some varying degree, everyone from Fox News all the way to MSNBC, they're all saying the same thing. So at the end of the day...
Like a colorful rainbow of hate.
Right.
You know
it's a
what,
spectrum, if you will.
I think that Trump is really good at giving the illusion of screwing up by being, stupid and silly. But at the end of that, I think he gets done pretty much what he intends to do, even if it's not accomplishing something. It's getting people focusing on something else or making the media fumble all over themselves. I just think the strategy just somehow just always makes things work out more in favor for him in some way.
I mean, the way I'm viewing it is we are now, June, however many weeks, days into his presidency. If you had asked, I actually had a friend who I spoke to in November after the election and Trump had won, who expected by now we would be in World War III. He literally expected, looked me straight in the eye and thought, we're going to be in nuclear war within 60 days. So I said to him, I'm like, so in other words, if the world doesn't end, you'll consider Trump's done a good job. Is that essentially what you said? He's like, I'm like, if that's your bar, if your bar is world destruction.
Yeah, then getting to breathe should be like fucking fantastic.
Anything else is fine. So, I think, I mean, to answer your question, I think he's going to keep going on. And honestly, outside of the mainstream media, which people are falling off of more and more and more, I don't know if you saw, Dave Rubin had an interview with Jason Whitlock. It was really good. And Jason had said, he's like, what places need to realize is that the life and reality on social media is not real life. And there's not as many people involved with, there's more people not involved with social media than you would realize. Right. And jobs being back here in the country, there's a lot of shit going on, but how many cities have burned down or been burned since Trump? None. I mean, I actually think he's got a good shot. Oh, Antifa, but I know
they're not like a substantial standing army or some shit.
No, but they're trying, and but you're even seeing with Antifa where people are showing up in force to counter them before they even get there.
Yeah, that's dangerous though. Like, and here's the thing,
I know.
I was super worried about the Portland protest because, and this is more of a personal thing in my part of the country, where it has been violent, liberal, basically anarchists who have routinely rioted in Eugene and Portland, and like they've blown up. They were eco-terrorists who were blowing up SUVs at car lots, and like mostly peaceful stuff, IRA style attacks where like nobody was hurt, thankfully, and usually with some warning, like messages or something, and it was PR stunts to show how serious they were, and it failed to get them political support, so they stopped. For the most part, but there's still that core of people, and it is a very tiny core. This is much like the Muslim problem in Central Europe or continental Europe, where it is this tiny core that infects a very delusional sort of outer core that then riles up a crowd of role players who feel disenfranchised from society and feel once they get to that point where they have nothing to lose, they get dangerous.
Yeah,
and if they feel like if they can tribalize it to the point where you have like Based Stickman and the alt-right guys and all those guys who are, I think, trying to operate from a better place, and they do feel very legitimately threatened,
right?
But they create the tribal dichotomy that dangerous inner core feeds off of, and we've seen it in Berkeley.
Because it's all the same. The word I can't.
But and I agree with what you're saying there, but I don't think I don't think it'll be enough to change people's overall perception of Trump and the job he's doing. Just because
I don't either.
All they look like is to me, and I mean, I'm a almost 50-year-old man. I'm like, you look like morons, and whatever it is you want, I will do the exact opposite.
So the dangerous thing in it, though, is that if there is violence,
I know
it has to be so clear cut. It has to be bike lock style stuff, where it is literally a guy having a discussion and suddenly getting whacked over the head with a deadly weapon before people are like, oh, these 85 people might be bad. Because if it happens any other way, you saw with the chick who got punched in the face.
Right.
Like, she went there to go do violence. She had bottles in her hand to hit people and throw them at people.
She wants some Nazi scalps.
No, she was picking up trash. How dare you disparage her? She was there just picking up trash.
Fair enough. You're right.
No, but I understand what you're saying. Believe me, the violence makes me sick because, and
it's
honestly,
the danger.
Where I am, it's non-existent. I mean, I don't see it. A lot of it seems. I mean, it seems to be the West Coast primarily where this is going on.
West Coast is the best coast. Fuck.
And this is the thing. It's this culture of people who, and it's the by any means necessary, and their type. They are a relatively new group in this, and they're just the latest to be indoctrinated into it. But this is like a torch that gets passed down from young radical to young radical. Well, I say young, like late 20s, early 30s, sometimes aging into their 40s, but they are always brainwashing basically these idealistic youths who are trying to do good things, and that's what makes it so very difficult to hear them off that path. When somebody says, "Oh, we're trying to fight racism," cool. I'm really glad that like 90% of kids are immediately like, "Oh yeah, I'll help with that. What do you want me to do?" Right. And they catch that 1% that's too dumb or naive to be like, "Wait, that's dumb. I don't want to do that."
Well, if we have that percent, I mean,
this is the thing.
They're a lost cause, but
they are. And that's the thing. They're going to do what they're going to do. Yeah, they're going to do what they're going to do, and you can't stop them from doing it. My thing is the optics of that. It will crush an entire ideological movement if it does turn into a narrative that can be pressed with any sort of legitimacy. So it's so important that there are millions of cameras at all of these events.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you ever go to a free speech march or a Trump rally or any political, if there are more than 100 people in a square block period, just pull out your camera, start filming stuff, just make memories.
It's like I said earlier. The left likes to say, sunlight's the best antiseptic. How Antifa does not. It feels at the end of the day, I mean, in their heart, has to believe what they're doing is wrong, is they don't want to be filmed. They don't ever want to be filmed. They don't want. It's like, here's what we're doing. If you believe what you're doing is just, I would want it to be seen by the world, but you don't. So, and that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, Stan, you're thinking what we're doing right here is just?
Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely.
Just want to make sure.
We're just, regular guys having a discussion.
Well,
reasonable discussion.
Of course.
Hey, look, I mean, I am the first to admit I am more Neanderthal than educated person. I mean, but if not for this platform, I mean, I can't talk to us as a family. For fuck's sake. I mean, my family is half and half. I got my mother and my stepfather who are old school conservatives, like what you believe conservatives are, that's them. Like the Bible and gay marriage is not good. And then I've got my sisters who are all everything Trump does is evil and all this stuff. So I'm like, please. I'm like, every dinner I'm like, please.
I'm glad that there's not
please, no politics, please.
I'm glad there's not like a sharp dichotomy in my family like that, because I think we're all in pretty much universal agreement. I think there might be some minor deviations.
How I especially knew my one sister was very anti-Trump was when my 6-year-old nephew, when I the last time they were up here visiting, we took him to lunch, and he asked who we voted for, and my stepdad said I voted for Trump. Why? He hates women.
Oh God.
So it's like, okay, you're 6. Where are you getting that from? And you know exactly where you're getting it from.
Stan, you're
hearing his mother screeching about it constantly.
Stan,
Someone must have.
You lost the plot. 6-year-olds totally know everything about international national politics.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen
Watch
that one
CNN.
kid from Syria?
Yeah.
Someone must have taken him aside and had a reasonable discussion, right?
Reasonable discussion,
right?
Exactly.
So my family is really odd because it was about a year and a half before the election actually hit, and we're like Trump was just getting out of the gate with his campaign, and it was still totally not him as the front runner. Like everyone was assuming he'd burn out really quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
My dad, who is he was a refugee from Iran, from the Iran-Iraq War, and he's like, oh, Trump all the way. Trump's going to win it. I love Trump. And, like, he's not a super political guy. Like, he's not that into it. He follows it. He listens to Rush. Like, he's fairly conservative. But he's not well-versed in the minutia of the primaries. Like, he just votes and, like, pays attention to stuff, right? And I'm like, nah, you're crazy. Like, I mean, you're maybe not crazy. Like, he might win the nomination. But, like, Sanders is going to be the Democratic nominee. He's picking up steam. Unless the Democratic Party screws him, he'll be the nominee because nobody likes Hillary.
And then the Democratic Party
screwed him, and we got Hillary. And so when people
that might be a friendly term to say he got screwed. I think it's more like the devil from Tenacious D promised what he was going to do to Kyle Gass. He did to Bernie Sanders.
Oh.
I always find it funny when because I talked to my friend, I'm still not particularly a Trump supporter per se. Like he hasn't quite won my vote, but like the more people yell crazy about him, the more I reconsider that. But it's to the point where I'm like, I didn't vote for Trump, and they're like, do you know anyone that did? I'm like, yeah, my dad, the Muslim from Iran. Like that is the most diehard Trump supporter I know, and he still is. Like
that's great.
He does, and I'm like,
I want to meet your dad. He sounds like a wonderful man.
Oh, he is. He's awesome. He's really bright too. But like, I just find it really funny when people are like, "Well, Trump's a racist. Hates Muslims." I'm like, well, funny because the Muslims I know like don't really agree with that. Like a lot of the other ones, especially a lot of the Persians we know, they're all like, he's crazy. Like, but. And my dad, he pointed out this one night at a dinner. He's like, guys, we grew up with crazy leaders. Like, look at, and he names off like half a dozen guys in the Middle East that any number of these people at this table have lived under. And they're all like, yeah, fair point. And they all just kind of moved on. I'm like, oh, that was the end of the conversation. Cool. So.
All right. Before we head on to a lighter topic to end the show, Minding Freedom had another chat message to bring up.
Yeah, 2 actually, and both aimed at Stan.
Oh, God damn it.
So the first one was both by J Fry again. The first one was, "You're only 50, Stan? Jesus, life's been hard on you, bro."
This is a lot of hard work went into this big old belly, all right?
And
what is going on?
Wait.
Been hard.
Stan, it's not over yet. I mean, you saw the other one.
Yeah, I saw the other one. Yeah,
the other one was Stan would be a 50-year-old school shooter if it wasn't for YouTube.
Oh my God!
You know what? I worked in restaurants for 25 years, so yeah, I've had a rough career. So
you've been tested.
I am battle worn.
Oh my gosh!
All right. So one of the reasons why we have less in terms of quantity of topics today is because we were so focused this week on the election in the United Kingdom.
Which is fucking weird, by the way. Sort your shit out, you weird ass island. I'm glad that we shot it. Oh,
so we're ending with a lighter topic, but the night is always darkest just before the dawn. So we have to talk about how it was a whole fiasco. Didn't really go that well. If anyone watched the Rovertime Extra, we talked to a couple of Brits who were both in London at the moment.
Yeah.
And apparently what I got from it is that this whole thing didn't even have to happen. So, was it Theresa May had the absolute majority, and she said, "I don't need it. Here, you have it," and she just gave it away. Like
So that's the thing.
She
It
said
was
the majority,
come on.
but I want to make it easier for myself.
No,
So
here's the thing.
let me run my mouth. And
She was unelected, though. That was the thing. She did not have a very good mandate, and Corbyn actually had a very good argument against her that could have lost a lot of public support if she had moved in a direction that didn't have popular support. She needed to win an election outright as the prime candidate in order to really cement that ability to negotiate properly, and that was the goal. Unfortunately, she tried to, destroy the internet, which people
And bring back
took
fox
offense to.
hunting for some reason.
But
I think the
she
fox
wanted
hunting
to-
thing, people would have just been like, yeah, whatever. It's like when the when the Republican Party puts in their platform like stand up for traditional marriage. Like at this point, we all just kind of shine it on and be like, okay, Grandpa, cool, yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk about gay marriage, but
It's like, all
first we
right,
got some other stuff.
like, yeah, just have your hard candy and we'll talk about it later. We're fine.
right.
And now I feel bad that Nigel Farage can't retire because he is like the only politician that we know that ended his career with like a success.
But he didn't. That's the thing.
Well,
if he'd stuck in, because when all the UKIP guys started stepping back. By the way, I love the fact that like as Americans, we're actually interested in somebody else's elections for once.
Yeah.
We're actually
Wait until
knowledgeable about it.
September.
But when they all stepped back, it was a huge repudiation of Brexit in the public eye. And I think a lot of people in the UK took that as a sign of their lack of confidence. They were surprised at their own victory. It looked like instead of finishing the job, they stepped back and tried to like pass it off to other people.
Right.
So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. But
For sure.
one thing I did want to let everyone know is that this person is now my personal hero.
thank you. Oh, that's so nice of you, Mark. I really appreciate it.
Lord
Lord-
Buckethead.
Lord
Lord-
Buckethead. This guy is now my hero.
You don't know I'm not Lord Buckethead. That's all I can say.
This
You
is
don't
true.
know.
We've never seen Lord
Well,
Buckethead's
actually,
face.
I realize black is slimming, but it's not that slimming. So yeah, I'm not Lord Buckethead.
I
Well,
just
this
want to
yeah,
ask a
this is a
question.
photo.
Has anyone ever seen Stan and Lord Buckethead in the same room?
This is a true statement. No one has.
I mean, I do have a private jet. I mean, so I could be flying back and forth. No one's ever. That's right. No
And
one's seen us
can you
together.
hear that? That slight, authentic Britishness in his voice?
Absolutely. I hide it well.
Slight.
So this guy's platform was like, I watched one video of him, and he wanted to like take the land from the rich and build on that, but use his like new cloaking device so that the rich don't even know about it. Like it was hilarious. It's like a parody, and he got like 260 votes or something like that. So
249.
yeah, 249 votes.
Oh.
But
How-
In
that's-
the same constituency as Theresa May.
oh, that's hilarious. So,
So he was featured on international TV.
I
Oh
love
my
seeing him in the background. This guy's got like a 3-foot tall head. It's just it's unbelievable. But before we close, because Toby hasn't said anything yet, I wanted to get your guys' opinion from Germany. Like, how interested were you guys in the UK election? I want to start with Toby, unless he fell asleep.
No, I'm still listening in. But I haven't followed so much here political news in the last month since the end of the US elections. Usually I would have watched daily Alex Jones or Rebel Media. Well, I only assumed that Theresa May, she would, at least have there some less votes.
And what about you, Minding?
I followed it very closely, as I do with all interesting international elections. Also did with the Dutch election, the French election, and all of the U.S. election, of course. But it stunned me that Theresa May just gave away the advantage she had over Jeremy Corbyn and Labour so easily and so quickly. I mean, we're talking about a few
Just
weeks,
give
like
it
6
away.
weeks, 7 weeks.
Yeah.
She
Just
gave
give it away.
she gave away an advantage of well, the polls said something like she could get up to 400 seats. She had 330 before the election, so she could have gained 70 seats. Instead, she lost, I think, 12 or 11 or something. So that's ridiculous. Like, she lost net 80 seats in 40 days.
Jeez.
But
But
I
yeah,
have a song by George Strait about giving it away, and Theresa May. That's her anthem right now. Just give it away. Just give it away.
No.
I mean,
It's got to be a little faster than that.
Give it away.
It's got to be give it away.
Yeah.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, give it away, give it away, give it away now.
And you know what's
but
funny?
Here's the best question that I've kind of been marbling around in my head. This is really bad for the UK, and I feel bad for them that they made this horrible mistake. But could this have been the best political science teaching moment for the Trump Republican Party? That, hey, even if you can win politically if you don't fuck with the internet.
Yeah, that should be like rule number 1. Don't fuck with the internet, and you're safe.
So if anyone from the Trump administration is listening, which they're probably not, but just in case, get rid of fucking Ajit Pai. Get rid of that guy.
No.
My recommendation would be take Trump's Twitter away. Shut that shit down.
No, that's entertaining.
No, it's no.
Kofifi is amazing.
Yes.
Quiet Stan.
They should replace Trump's Twitter account with a bot and see how long it takes the media to notice.
Maybe they did.
I was going to say before, it was funny that you were singing that song by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, because I actually heard that song for the first time in years, like last night.
Yeah, for a reason.
So it's like, I don't know why. That's pretty interesting. But that's an hour, unless you guys have anything else to talk about.
Well, now I just got Red Hot Chili Peppers in my head, and it's kind of bugging the fuck out of me.
Yeah, well,
I got something. I talked to you guys earlier about something that I really want to get into the show, and I got a screen share here.
Oh shit!
There's some bad news, guys.
No!
Pepe is banned from the App Store.
Pepe is banned, but the punching Donald Trump in the face app is not from the store.
And
Wait,
the thing is, this is an article here by Motherboard, which is like a subdivision of Byte. And they're saying Apple has categorized the meme frog as objectionable content.
wait, so what is it that they're banning? Like, are they banning like the emojis or anything? Like,
This is what the app would have looked like. Screen to go up. And here we go. Pepe's Scream was rejected for violating Section 1.1 of Apple's App Store review guidelines, which stipulates that apps cannot include content that is offensive, insensitive, upsetting, intended to disgust, or in exceptionally poor taste.
I mean, I'm kind of cool with this because holy crap, this is going to make this app way more popular on Android.
Yeah. I mean,
The app is completely gone. Oh, on Android, yeah. Well,
I mean, but that this just goes to the consistency. I don't have a problem with this, but how is that offensive? But a punching Donald Trump in the face, punching the president app is okay.
I don't know. You got to ask.
Either they're both okay or they're both not okay.
The story goes on. On the subreddit, the Donald, Mr. I can't pronounce that.
Germans.
Yeah, whatever. Said that the game combines shitposting with autistic screeching, and that Apple is full of cucks.
Minding, you know me. That's two. Shit posting, autistic screeching are two things I can get behind, brother. I'm just gonna wear this in solidarity of that app getting banned for the time being.
I would love to see a hijab made out of a Pakistani flag.
Okay, we can make this work. We can make this work.
Someone needs to make for blonde the pulling the
All right, hold
hijab game.
Yeah, we need a job pulling game on iPhone.
The hijab pulling game, exactly.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me just tuck this in. And
This is gonna be our thumbnail next week.
I'm Linda Sarsour, guys.
I mean, we made it if Linda Sarsour ever wears this as a hijab.
Chardonnay, Chardonnay. I don't know the actual song. I just know it's part of the song.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. All right, so I think that's a pretty good way to end the show then, you guys think?
Yeah.
Me dancing, screeching, and Pakistan. I love it.
All right, well, everyone subscribe to us. Check the links.
Chardonnay, my dudes.
Check the video description because there's more links you can click on if you want to follow any of us. Follow Roaming Millennial, and if you're watching this live, hop on next to Matt Christensen's live stream. He somehow scored a interview with Lauren Southern, and by somehow I mean of course because he's a very good YouTuber. You should probably check out his channel.
Absolutely.
And
He's not as good as us, though.
I mean, does he have a man with a Pakistani fucking hijab? I don't think he does. Fuck you, Matt Christensen. We got your ass. Oh,
we should make her. Jay Fry, I think he's still in the chat and he's still watching. Jay Fry, please make Blonde wear a Pakistani hijab.
please.
I would super chat for that for sure.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh man.
All right, well, everyone have a good night.
Oh wait. Well,
You too.
Okay, good night.
All right.
Good night.